Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Yes, I know, I promise this will be the last list video for a while. This whole week I've been dealing with work drama, which as of 10 a.m. this morning, I am officially let go permanently. So yeah, fun story there. But anyways, let's get to my honorable mentions for my top 50 favorite games. Now, as you compile these lists, as you think about these games, that's the thing with people, you know, we play games, your favorites change. Games you loved maybe 5 years ago change, or you're like, oh, you know, I really like that game, oh, I don't like that game as much. And then there's some that you just, oh god, how did I forget about that game? Well, these 10 games are definitely ones, I don't know if I'd say they're my 50 to 60, some of them might be in the 40s, some of them might be in the 30s, who knows, but these are 10 games that should be honorable mentions for that list, and they're not in any sort of order. The first one I'm going to show you is the first game I ever had stolen from me, which wasn't even mine, it was my brother's, and I never got it back. It actually became a long-running thing. My buddy David, I've talked about, you know, kids will be kids. He didn't steal it, but he lost it. Who knows what that means. He had a lot of friends that, you know, weren't necessarily as savory as me, so I can believe one of them took it. But that game is Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage on the Genesis, one of my all-time favorite beat-em-ups. If you notice there wasn't any beat-em-ups on my list, it's because, ironically, I think there's going to be a few of them here now that didn't quite make the cut. Streets of Rage is one of them, though. One of the, just the music in the game, the atmosphere. Everyone talks about Streets of Rage 2 over the first one, but there's just something about the first one. I played 2 and I played 3 on the Sega channel after it, but it was always something about the first one. The fact that it had the story of my brother being pissed at me for lending it to a friend, which, hey, that's why I never lend anything. So, you know, yeah, I really try not to. If I lend a game, I am on people like white on rice. Like, hell no. I want that back. Because I never got that one back. And such a great game. So Streets of Rage would be my first honorable mention. My next honorable mention is the game that almost got me into RPGs before Final Fantasy VII. And that was Mario RPG. Which was funny. At the time when I bought this, I thought I made a mistake. I just wasn't into it. I picked it up, was playing it. It was super expensive for a Super Nintendo game, if I remember. This was probably a $70 game. I want to say I bought it when the N64 was out, but when we were in that huge dry spell where it was literally, after Wave Race and Cruising USA came out, there was nothing for a long time. And not even bad games, just nothing. And I picked up Mario RPG, and I think I was playing it for a while. I just couldn't get into it, and then maybe something else. Maybe that's when I got the PlayStation, or I don't know. I stopped playing it. Well, the once I played Final Fantasy VII, I picked up Mario RPG again, and I loved it. And I really did. And it's amazing music, amazing characters, being able to play as Bowser, the comedy. This game really made me love Bowser. The first game to make me love Bowser. And the next honorable mention is a game that was on my top 5 most nostalgic games, and I have to admit, not having this on the list still bothers me. And that is Baseball Stars. How could I forget Baseball Stars? I don't know. I almost feel like I remembered Contra late, but then I somehow didn't get Baseball Stars in there. That's definitely better than The Simpsons Road Rage. Yeah, amazing baseball game. You can design your own teams. You can name them. You can play an actual season. Just make sure you hold select when you hit start, or when you hit the power button on the NES. Otherwise, you could lose everything. The music's so memorable for me. The turning the game on music, the sound effects. I believe I mentioned in my Crystalis review about how the sound effect was the one from the home run effect from Baseball Stars, which was nuts. And the fact that you hear that one all the time in Crystalis was also kind of cool, because yeah, you'd hit a home run, but you know, it wasn't every time you pick up money like it was in Crystalis. So yeah, Baseball Stars, next honorable mention. After that, keeping in line with NES sports games, kind of, Punch-Out! I mentioned that Punch-Out! Should have been on it too. Just a phenomenal puzzle-based kind of action game, even though it's a boxing game. I'm probably more fond of the one on the Wii, if I'm completely honest. But you gotta go with the original, just because the original has the charm. It has Mike Tyson in it, and just I've never been able to beat him. Never been able to beat Tyson. I haven't put a huge amount of work into it. Maybe a couple of dedicated nights in the last 5 years, but still, that's something I would like to accomplish one of these days. Next honorable mention, this is the one that really hurt, that I was like, how did I forget that? But I have so many PlayStation 1 RPGs, and that is Breath of Fire 3. Breath of Fire 3 is a phenomenal game. I haven't played any of the other Breath of Fires. The reason why I picked this one up was, once again, my buddy David. He was playing it, and this was after Final Fantasy VII and all those, and he was playing it, and I'm looking at him like, man, that looks dope. I'm getting it. And I probably bought it the next day. Because at that time, once again, the N64 was a weird time. Everyone talks about what a small library it was because there wasn't much coming out. So you had to think. It was almost like you were game starved, especially for me because I wasn't out there looking for PlayStation games. I was looking for N64 games. So if I was waiting another 6 months for Banjo-Kazooie, you're like, all right, I need something to do. And Breath of Fire 3 was amazing. It has the cool character Ray. It has Gar. It has all these badass. Like, I don't remember too much about it. I just remember loving it. And I remember the town building simulation where you could get these little fairies or pixies or whatever, and they would slowly build up a town. Although and there was even fishing in the game too, which was pretty fun. So Breath of Fire 3, amazing game. Next honorable mention is going to be a puzzle game. I know there weren't many puzzle games, if any. Yeah, I don't think there was any on the list. Well, there is one that I hold above the rest, and it's not Tetris. This was on my forgotten games of the late 90s, and that is Wetrix. Wetrix is a surprisingly good puzzle game. Essentially, you need to build up mountain scales and then drop water into them to form lakes. And then randomly you'll be assigned bombs and fireballs, and you can build the landscape up or you can put the landscape down, and you can get ice things that turn the water to ice. And essentially, you don't want to lose water. So the more water you lose goes into a pool on the side, and once you lose all your water, the game is over. Phenomenal game, really fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and the series disappeared. I didn't even know there's a Wetrix 2, which I'd like to pick up one of these days, but yeah, Wetrix is amazing. Next honorable mention is the game that almost was the GoldenEye killer for me on the GameCube. It was made by the same people, and it's still a very, very good game, and that is Timesplitters 2. Now, I've heard some people say Future Perfect is better. I've yet to play it, but Timesplitters 2 was great with the zany, off-the-wall humor, all the different time periods. You have Chicago, snow, they could do anything with the game because you're going through time. So it was just a fun concept. And then they had so many unlockable characters for the multiplayer. They had all these different game modes, Virus and Guardian. It was fun. It's such a terrific game. My dad and I used to play the hell out of it. That was one of, there was a few on this that were on a list that got omitted. So Streets of Rage was one, Timesplitters 2 is one, and the next one, Turtles in Time, was also one. I don't know what it is. I guess the beat 'em ups don't do it for me. When I got down to the nitty gritty, I love Turtles in Time. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. But yeah, Turtles in Time was a game I thought should have been on the SNES Mini. It's phenomenal. It's fun as hell. It's just a perfect co-op experience with your friend. I remember my buddy Sean and I beat it all the way through on his RetroPie. I know, oh god, emulated though, maybe about 1.5, 2 years ago, and just had a great time. Maybe it took us a couple hours, and we didn't run out of continues. It's just fun. It's just fun. All the different turtles, even though they play exactly the same, they're very well animated. The boss characters, you know who they are. They aren't random people you never heard of. And compared to when I played it when I was a kid, getting Turtles 4 after playing the original NES one was like, what the hell happened? I didn't even know it was an arcade game either. That's what's crazy. I didn't know it was based on an arcade game. And lastly, my last honorable mention is another GameCube game, and it is essentially it uses the engine that No Mercy did, which was Def Jam Fight for New York. Now, Def Jam Vendetta is good. The other Def Jam games are good. I'm talking about specifically Fight for New York because that was the one I really played, and it just felt like a GameCube. That's why a lot of these are GameCube versions of games from the N64 that were on the list. You know, we had Timesplitters 2, which was the GoldenEye. This one is the No Mercy. In this game, you could actually do a cool create your character and then do a campaign mode. And the campaign mode in this game was both ridiculous and amazing. Because all of the wrestlers are hip-hop artists. And even though I knew none of them, well, I knew some of them, I didn't know very much of anything. So it was almost just like going through a... you know, just a story mode with all these characters, and oh, they have this name, these are ridiculous. Oh, those are actual people? Oh my god. This is so much fun. This is so much fun. And what makes this game even more fun is back to my buddy David. You know, we hung out a lot. We always would be hyper competitive with these type of games. Well, one of my favorite stories growing up was specifically with Def Jam Fight for New York. Because as much as I don't like to admit it, he was always a little bit better at me in Smash Brothers Melee. And when we started playing this, we were kind of even. You know, maybe he'd win 3, I'd win 2, I'd win 4, he'd win 3. You know, we go back and forth. However, in this game, similar to the counter system in No Mercy, it's even more comprehensive than that, and if you get good at the timing of it, you become almost unstoppable if the other person doesn't know how to counter it. And this was also back when you didn't have a smartphone, you could look up how to do that. So he'd be like, how you doing that? How you doing? I'm like, oh, just hitting this button, man. Just hitting this button. Don't worry about it. Tell me what you're doing. Oh, it's all good, bro. And so we had one day where literally we played 21 matches in a row, and I stomped him every single time. It got to the point where he was like, I'm done. And that was the last day we ever played it. So yeah, Def Jam Fight for New York. Phenomenal game, phenomenal memory. That's 10 more games. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll try and get back to some normal videos next week. It's just been a little bit of a difficult week, if you can imagine. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.